Good Tuesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, one has had a fantastic Tuesday. I am your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go and talk about the weather for your Tuesday evening going into your future. First off, what we normally do before we go on and get it started. We first off talk about what we are going to talk about tonight. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the scattered storms and heavy rain that will continue. We're also going to be talking about the slight cool down that will occur as we go into tomorrow and Thursday, and then also as that heat will begin to build back right on Friday. And then also we're going to talk about how it's going to be a little bit drier as we get into this weekend, and heat advisories are likely this weekend into early next week, and we'll have those low temperatures back into the low 80s again like we saw earlier as well. So like I said last night, I said that we most likely will receive just this more of this heat, and that we are nowhere near done. We are nowhere near done with this heat. So let's go on now. And second off, if you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, make sure you go and do so. Hit the share button as well. Share with all the people that you know. We're trying to get to 600 subscribers. We're at 541. We are 9 away from the halfway goal of 550, and we are 59 away from our main goal of 600 subscribers. Let's go on and get there. But let's also go on and talk with the recorded audience for the people who could unfortunately not make it to the live stream tonight. Good Tuesday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully everyone has had a fantastic Tuesday. I am your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson. Let's go on and talk about the weather for your Tuesday evening going into your future. Now, looking at the radar right now, we do have some heavy rainfall going on, especially over here near McCormick, South Carolina, going over towards Gilbert and Lexington. Also over here near Pelion and just in eastern Columbia, we have heavy rainfall. We also do have some scattered shower activity like up here in the upstate, like Starr, South Carolina, Townville, Sandy Springs, going on over here near Camden, Manning, South Carolina, Orangeburg, St. Matthews receiving some rainfall. Also, a lot of rainfall going on, or at least this widespread kind of just convection right over here near Ridgeland, Gillisonville, also near Bluffton, Hilton Head Island, moving out of Beaufort. And then also, if you look over here near Allendale, has some stuff over there. But for the most part, everyone else is at least mostly dry or just dry in general. As we go into our cloud cover right now, you can see that cloud cover mainly situated over that low country of South Carolina and that Midland area, even going into the PD and Grand Strand region. But the upstate is actually looking a lot less dense than areas like Columbia, for example, where that storm is going on. Or also maybe in the low country or near Augusta, for example. But there is also a little bit of a clear spot. If you look over there, like near like Rock Hill, going down just to the north of Columbia, where that white clouds are up right there, a little bit of a clear spot. But for the most part, it's mostly cloudy. Going into our cloud cover for the future, you can see here pretty much exactly what was going on. Looking mostly cloudy. If we go on and continue this forward all the way through tonight, going into tomorrow, this is 7 o'clock in the morning, a lot more clearing that is happening, but it is still cloudy for some areas like the low country. Still probably will be receiving some clouds tomorrow morning at 7. Same thing in the upstate as well. And if you continue to push this forward all the way into this is like the early afternoon, that cloud cover activity will continue to kind of make its way to the west where it's been pushing, but then there will be some more that pushes in from the east that moves in to that PD region right there as well. So for the most part, it's going to clear up a lot tomorrow for a lot of regions, but there will still be cloud cover present. Current temperatures for right now: 81 in Columbia as well as 79 in Orangeburg, 79 in Summerville as well as 81 in Sumter and Florence and Hartsville, 82 in Bennettsville as well as 79 in Conway, 81 in Myrtle Beach, 81 also in Murrells Inlet. If we go also up here towards the upstate, 79 in Greenville, 80 in Spartanburg as well as 80 in Gaffney, 80 in Clemson, and 81 in Anderson, and 82 in Rock Hill. I don't think I said downtown Charleston, but it was 80 in downtown Charleston as well. Low temperatures for tonight: 72 in Greenville as well as 72 in Spartanburg, 71 in Rock Hill, 74 in Columbia, and 74 in Orangeburg, 73 in Walterboro, 77 in Charleston, as well as 75 in Myrtle Beach, and 77 in Hilton Head Island as well. Going into your rainfall, good amount of rainfall. 100th of an inch to a tenth of an inch. That goes from like Spartanburg going into Rock Hill and Camden and Columbia. And again, this went from 8 p.m. tonight into 8 p.m. tomorrow night. So a couple of these, especially into that Columbia region, for sure, I know for sure these people on the eastern side of Columbia are definitely going to receive a lot more than just 100th of an inch to a tenth of an inch. But, that's just what it is with these summer thunderstorms. They're going to be all over the place. They're going to be doing unexpected things. And so, it's kind of a hard thing to predict there. But other regions include like Dillon going into Florence and Kingstree as well, Barnwell, Aiken. Not Aiken, but Georgetown. And then we also do have a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch for like going into Orangeburg, going into Moncks Corner and Charleston, going into like Anderson and Greenwood as well. Then a quarter of an inch to a half an inch for like Lawrence, going into Sumter, maybe even Walterboro is included in there, and then half an inch to an inch for like Newberry going into Hilton Head Island as well. For the SPC outlook, this is the last update that we got, but they just updated it. Here it is, day one right here for tonight. No longer any sort of severe threat. There is no severe threat that is expected as we go from tonight. But thunderstorms are still possible, and there still are some thunderstorms that are occurring right now inside of the state as we speak. As I'm looking at most of these storms or most of these rain showers that I'm looking at from Orangeburg, that one has a 5% chance of producing lightning. Over here in Columbia, that one has a 34% chance. Over here near Gilbert and Ridge Spring, pretty much an 100% chance. There definitely is some thunder in that one. And then also over here inside of McCormick, near Troy, there definitely is some lightning in that one as well. Going into tomorrow, no severe threat here for tomorrow either. For now, Aiken, Columbia, Florence, the entire low country, most of the PD and all the Grand Strand region, thunderstorm risk there. Upstate, not in that risk for now. And if you go into Thursday, July the 24th, 2025, we also do just have another thunderstorm risk again, pretty much for those same areas. But it does include a little bit more of that northern upstate. Excessive rainfall, you can see here that we have the slight risk of excessive rainfall that actually did get extended all the way up into the upstate, like Anderson going into Greenville, going into Spartanburg as well. That minor risk also inside of that green that goes all the way from like York, kind of stretches its way just to the north of Florence as well. And pretty much, if you're in the yellow, that's a 15% risk of receiving flash flooding. And if you're in the green, that's a 5% risk of seeing some flash flooding. And for sure, for where I am, when I went out and I drove, there was definitely flooded roadways, standing water in roadways as well, drains not being able to take in that water fast enough from all of the rain that was occurring. That was for sure an issue. And I'm inside the yellow region, obviously inside the slight risk, not in the green risk. But I'm 100% certain that other regions as well, especially I know inside the eastern low country, like in eastern Berkeley County, going into eastern Charleston County, like the Tri-County region especially, had a lot of issues there. But that was just from today. That goes all the way through tonight as well until they make an update for it. But for now, that slight risk is still there. Tomorrow, we are not done. We have another marginal risk of excessive rainfall. Again, that goes all the way from Andrews, Georgetown, down through Moncks Corner, Somerville, Hanahan, Charleston, North Charleston, Walterboro, Ridgeland, Beaufort. And all these regions right here, again, that is minor flooding or some isolated flash flooding. And we are still not done. Thursday. This is Thursday morning going all the way into Friday morning. Minor flooding is possible, and same thing with isolated flash flooding. And this goes for the entire state of South Carolina, so not just the low country, not just the PD, not just the upstate. This is for every area inside of South Carolina has a chance for some of that flooding on Thursday. Friday and Saturday we get a little bit of a break, but we thought the same thing obviously for The same thing for tomorrow or Thursday as well. That was yesterday. For Monday, we thought that Thursday there was no risk, but they ended up actually adding a risk. So that's why when I say for now, that can change. That can 100% change. So let's go on and look at the model. So we're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m. So you can see pretty much this is at least a close representation for what we're seeing right now throughout the state. If you go on and push this forward, you can see, as I cannot push it forward for some reason, is my thing broken? No, it's not. My keyboard is dead. Let me go and get that plugged up real quick. Just a brief intermission. Should be back on now. All right, there we go. But starting off here, 9 p.m. As you go in and push this forward, you can see the showers, storms, all moving their way to the west. And they pretty much will still be here past midnight. I mean, even by 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. as well, they will still be here. But once you get to around that 5 to 6 a.m. region, I mean, you're still seeing some isolated shower activity near the coastal regions, for example. Now, if you continue all the way to 7 a.m., this is where, obviously, I make my morning forecast update. We have some rainfall going on still near those coastal regions as well, even going through to 11 a.m. So there is a chance that we get to see some shower activity for, if not the majority of the night, all night. So that's potentially possible. And even as you get to around 1 p.m., you're still seeing that shower activity. But, it's nothing, terrible. Most of that heavy rainfall activity that we're seeing, that's mainly why we have that slight risk of excessive rainfall that extends all the way up into the upstate, because we have all of that rainfall there, and that will continue going on by the time we get to around 3 to 4 a.m., like I said, and then it'll just turn into really just some isolated shower and downpour activity. You can also see the low pressure right here. That's mainly what's causing all of this disturbance right there off the coast of Georgia and northern Florida. That's what's causing all of this activity right here. And if we go on and continue even further, this is 2 p.m. tomorrow right here. You can still see some rainfall up there in the upstate, but it kind of clears up a little bit, just a little tiny bit. Continuing this forward all the way through to around 6, 7 p.m. Still have some shower, thunderstorm activity going on. And by the time it gets to 12 o'clock in the morning on July 24th, there still will be, again, just more shower and thunderstorm activity. And, I mean, that goes all the way to noon on July 24th, all the way to 2 p.m. So, pretty much the main thing, or the main summary that I'm getting from this information right here, is that it's just going to be just rainfall and thunderstorm activity, not only through the daytime, but also through the nighttime hours as well. So, this will potentially be even like I said, like a nighttime threat, even though, like I said, most of the activity is expected to dissipate, but that will, obviously continue, and obviously these storms obviously will have that chance for those gusty winds, and that will continue pretty much as we continue throughout pretty much most of the summer. But let's go on and continue into the long-term future. So this right here is right where we left off, and as we continue, you can see I want you to focus on once we get to around the 25th, 26th, and 27th. So we're here right now. You can see that it's a lot less activity, and that's not by mistake. Once we get to this weekend, it's actually going to calm down a lot in terms of activity. Now, once we get, this is the 28th right here. This is Monday, so you can see right when we get to Monday, things start to get a little bit more active, but it's not as, but it is more active for sure than the weekend is. So it's actually going to be a pretty dry Friday through Sunday time period, and that's obviously when we'll get our warm up as well. But we're going to talk about the cool down for Wednesday, Thursday, and then the warm up again. But focusing back on the rainfall, you can see that this will continue, to be in that active activity that we've been receiving all the way through July 31st, going into August the 1st, going into August the 2nd as well. And once you get to around August the 3rd and the 4th, it seems like there's going to be a little bit of a quiet period as well by the time we get into around August the 3rd. August the 4th and the 5th comes in, as well as the 6th. But once we get past that 300-hour mark, that's August the 4th, we really can't say anything else by that time because, again, that's just way too far out, like I say. So I probably shouldn't have went too much in depth once I got past August the 4th, but I mean, this is the weather. Pretty much anything that we say can change, and obviously it's not going to be 100% exact for all locations. But that's it in terms of the long-term future. I do want to pull this up real quick. I'm just going to take you back to the excessive rainfall screen while I go on and get it up real quick. But one thing I want you to look at, I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all days pulled up. And I just want to show you this real quick. So this right here, that is not what I want. So this right here is, I believe this is Wednesday right here. So you can see right here on your screen, this is the high temperatures for Wednesday. You know, a little bit, but for some, a lot cooler, especially way cooler than the high 90s, like in Colombia, where we had a temperature of up to 100 degrees. 8 degrees cooler. That's pretty noticeable, as it's all the way down to 92 degrees for tomorrow. And that's obviously not going to be the only day. By the time you get to Thursday as well, it's going to be now near 91. Now compare that to today, 94, not, too bad. But not too bad compared to 91 or 92, but a lot cooler than it was on Monday. The high temperature there again on Monday was around like 100 degrees, and that's not feel like temperatures, that is actual real temperatures. Now, if you go all the way into low temperatures as well, this is Wednesday night, pretty normal. Continue all the way on to Thursday night. Again, these nighttime temperatures are actually going to be pretty, the same that it's been once we get into like the low 70s up there for like the upstate. You have the mid 70s to the mid 70s like for those inland regions like the Midlands, the Low Country, PD, and then the coastal regions getting near that 80-degree mark. That's what we've been experiencing. But look at Saturday. So this is the difference. This is the difference right here. This is tomorrow, Wednesday. You can see where your location is, like 89 in Greenville, or 87 in Myrtle Beach, or 88 in downtown Charleston, or 92 in Columbia, or 91 in Sumter, or Florence, or wherever you are, and then compare it to Sunday, or Saturday. 92 in Myrtle Beach, 95 in Greenville, 96 in Spartanburg, as well as 98 in Columbia, 99 in Camden, 97 in Sumter and Florence. So, not the biggest of cool downs for sure, but one thing that I will say, and I'll show you Wednesday and Thursday as well, but from what I'm seeing, it's going to be brief, and it's going to be way more tolerable than what you may, be comfortable with obviously heat index values going all the way up into like the 110-degree range. And that's also going to be a thing that's also going to calm down a lot. Look at these heat index values for Wednesday. Highest one may only be around 100. That is a 10-degree, if not 14, 15-degree difference from what we have been experiencing with heat index values in like 113, 114, maybe even 115 as well. So definitely this is for sure a definite cool down. Now again, 90 degrees definitely still not cool, definitely will still be hot, and just because it's a little bit of a cool down, that does not mean that you should not be staying hydrated. That just means that it will be a little bit more tolerable. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say there for the cool down though. And obviously I talked about the warm up. It's going to get right back to those warmer than average temperatures, back up to that 98, 99, 100 degree range, and then it will start to get back to that heat index values near like 110. And like I said, this weekend, we could actually potentially see some heat advisories as we go through. But that's it for that area right there. Since we're done talking about that in our future, let's go on and talk about the tropics, because we have a new area that we have to watch for. This is over here inside of, actually right now, the low pressure that I was actually just showing you earlier. If you were tuned in around like a good 5-7 minutes ago, when I was talking about the short-term models, and I said that there was a low pressure off the coast, like of Georgia and Florida, this is the low pressure that I'm talking about. It says a trough of low pressure on the southern end of the frontal boundary is currently located just offshore of the southeastern U.S. coast. Over the next few days, this system is forecasted to move west-southwestward into the north-central portion of the Gulf, where environmental conditions could allow for some slow development if the system remains far enough offshore. By this weekend, the system is likely to move inland, ending its chances for development. Regardless of formation, heavy rainfall could be possible for portions of the northern Gulf Coast through this weekend. So, a 10% chance of forming through the next 48 hours and a 10% chance of forming through in the next 7 days. But for now, what I will say is that this is pretty much what our last area that we were looking for. This is exactly kind of what it looked like. You can see that, or you can't see it, but earlier, the one that was down here further into, like over there, just I think 900 miles east of the Lesser Antilles, that one was pretty much in the same boat where if it did not form under a certain period of time, it was not going to do anything. And even the one before that as well, that one also had a limited time as well. So pretty much the story that I'm getting from all of these tropical systems is that they have a little bit of time to form, but once you get past that certain threshold, like this weekend, it's going to become unfavorable for development, and honestly, it will not, do anything. It will just be a regular tropical system or tropical disturbance as it moves its way inland. But we'll see if that one does anything for now. The crazy score, we are at a 45. We are at a 45 inside the moderate category. Noticeable weather conditions such as moderate rain, wind, or minor storms, and that's obviously agreeable. That's exactly what's going on right now as those showers and thunderstorm activity continues there. But that is about it for the crazy score. Let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Mr. Oliver says, good evening. Had some rain at my house. Was hoping for some cooler weather with a breeze, but not happening. Berkeley Electric wins again. That's, the electrical company, they always get you no matter if it's the heat, no matter if it's the AC. They're always going to get you one way, and the weather obviously helps them out a lot. So, unfortunately, and even as you get into like this little cool down that we'll have for Wednesday and Thursday, you will still need AC. I mean, 92 degrees, unless you can just, stand being in the house around 90, 100 degrees, but, that's on you. But they will still continue, just to continue winning as we get through, unfortunately. But for the people that want to start winning, fall is almost here. And when I say almost, I still mean like after next month. But it's still coming, so you still have something to look forward to for now. Trail says, greeting, Joseph. Hello to you. Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone from Moncks Corner. Had a lot of thunder and lightning, but no rain today. Thank you so much for that weather report there from Moncks Corner. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Mr. Oliver says, what time does the rainfall start tomorrow? In the low country of South Carolina, which let me go on and pull that back up real quick again. I'm going to go into the 0Z because that one should be a little bit more. Yeah, that one goes all the way to 7 p.m. Inside the low country, especially in the Tri-County region, this model right here doesn't really have any sort of rain going on in that region, but, obviously it's not going to be exact, but, I mean, some rainfall could potentially occur tonight inside the Tri-County region, by around like 3 to 4, maybe even 2 a.m. tonight, but if you continue to the early morning hours, you're not really seeing a whole bunch of rainfall, but again, just any time during the afternoon, like right there in northern Berkeley County, that could be in somewhere in Dorchester County, somewhere in Williamsburg County, somewhere in Georgetown County. So I would most likely say around like 3, 4, 5 p.m. is when you probably have your highest chance of rainfall, but tomorrow morning I'll talk more about it and what you can potentially expect there, though. Going back to the audience again, Thad says, good evening, Joseph. Sorry for my tardiness. My wife had me out there walking. I hope all is well. It was a hot one here today. We'll talk about San Antonio as well. No problem. Or no need to apologize for being tardy as well. At least you made it here tonight. And then Ms. Oliver says, I would like some 60 to 70 degree weather, please. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen, especially for the near term to even like 400 hours into the future. So you still have a long time to go. Still got a long time to go for now. But that's it for the audience. I don't see anything else. I will come back to the audience, but first, before we get back to that, let's go on and talk about what's going on in the 4 locations that we talk about outside of South Carolina, that being San Antonio, Raleigh, Philadelphia, and Duncan, Oklahoma. So starting off with San Antonio first, low temperatures tonight 76, high temperatures tomorrow at 100, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 75. No precipitation. No precipitation is expected at all tonight, and not only tonight, but tomorrow as well. And there's no severe weather is expected either. And in terms of excessive rainfall, there is indeed no excessive rainfall that is expected either. So you're severe weather free, you're excessive rainfall free. Going all the way to Raleigh, low temperatures tonight 69, high temperatures tomorrow at 90, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 70. No precipitation is expected tonight or tomorrow. No severe weather is expected. And in terms of excessive rainfall, no excessive rainfall is expected either for now. Then Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight 66, high temperatures tomorrow 86, and low temperatures tomorrow night 68. No precipitation is expected today or tomorrow. No severe weather is expected, and yes, minor flooding or some isolated flash flooding is possible on Saturday. So make sure that you're watching out for that. And then Duncan, Oklahoma being the last one, with low temperatures tonight 75, high temperatures tomorrow at 98, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 75. No precipitation is expected tonight or tomorrow, but tomorrow night there actually is a slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow night and potentially even on Thursday as well. So, we'll look, at least the ingredients will be there. Matters if the convection will be there. But for now, that thunderstorm ingredients will be in effect or will be in place on Thursday. No excessive rainfall is expected there either. So that's it for those 4 locations. What's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news? Why? Dangerous heat is expected across portions of the central and southeast U.S. through July. Severe storms for parts of the northern plains and the upper Midwest tonight and Wednesday. Threats include a few tornadoes, damaging winds, and excessive rainfall. Heavy rain may impact portions of the southeast and the southwest into tonight. A tropical disturbance brings heavy rain to Guam and the Marinas, or hope I said that correctly, through Friday as well. So a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, the main thing being heat, though. You have excessive heat warnings going on down there in, for example, Louisiana, going on into Mississippi, Arkansas, Illinois, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, as it's about to get really hot over there. But, I checked their excessive heat warnings actually get issued once it gets to around 108 degrees, which for us, that's only a heat advisory because we're so much more used to those hot temperatures, especially for them over there. But that's what it is looking like for now. And let me go in and check out the chat one more time. Let me see. Mr. Oliver says Philadelphia temperatures look decent. 66, 86, not terrible. Not terrible at all. Not terrible at all. In South Carolina, we'll be receiving those same temperatures in those 80s again, like I showed for Wednesday and Thursday. Some, 88, 89. So pretty close. Not too far off at all. So that's it there. What's going on for the top fans for tonight? Obviously, we're not, but for the 15th or 16th day in a row, Mr. Chris is number 1. Ms. Tolliver is at 2. And then Trail is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of y'all. And thank you so much for your contributions for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you have to be here pretty early. Right when the stream starts or right when you get the notification. You also have to be the first one to get to, obviously, the top spot. So you have to obviously be talking inside the chat, and you also have to, be here early and not tardy or anything like that. But obviously, it's just a top fan chart, that doesn't, I don't see anybody differently if they're not a part of it or anything like that. So it's just there just for fun, nothing really too serious about it. But I will be back tomorrow morning with your Wednesday morning forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. Not Wednesday, I'm a full day ahead. Tuesday.